Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 91. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by Mark, the Canadian Carabin. How you doing, my friend?
I am great. How are you?
Doing well. I'm in the new house.
Fantastic.
This is my second official podcast in the house. I was just talking to our guest, and I'm all about the boxes, and I happen to have a box of comics and books next to me, and that's what we were talking about. But I'll let him speak to that. That is Mr. John Bernardo, co-host of Comics on the Spot. John, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be here with fellow Canadians. Both Canadians or just one Canadian?
I'm adopted. I'm from Minnesota, so lower Canada.
I'm out of here. See you later. Close enough. Minnesota counts. Minnesota counts.
I told Mark I'm gonna have to get like dual citizenship because it's very Canadian lately. So I'm all in on Canada, though.
Yeah. I love what you've done with the new place already, though. You know,
you like that?
Great.
Yeah.
You already got the speakers in the background. Yeah, you're doing great there.
You know what? I try to impress our guests with the background, so try to mix it up. But I have been to Casa Loma. I have been to Toronto's Wonderland. I have been to Winnipeg. I've been to Windsor. So I grew up listening to watching CBC with Mr. Dressup and Don Cherry on hockey. So I mean, I'm all in.
It's funny that you called it Toronto Wonderland. That's cute.
Was it? Oh, Canada's Wonderland. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, you got it.
That's excellent. Right. Well, thanks, John. And you know what? We always want to get to know our guests a little bit better. And it's a theme of our show is all about licensed games. So this week on Buy, Rent, Return, we have three choices: Scott Pilgrim, The Simpsons arcade game, and South Park Stick of Truth, the RPG. Now, we had a choice for this, and so we couldn't decide, so we settled on one. But we could always swap out at last minute if we want. But those are our choices. So, John, in the essence of Blockbuster, and you had to make a choice as a kid, what would you pick?
Well, first off, I don't think Simpsons arcade game was an option to rent at Blockbuster. If we're gonna be accurate, but I will. We can still
fast and loose with those rules.
Yeah, we play fast and loose. And I don't think Stick of Truth was that. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim was digital only too. So I said
it might have been there. Yeah, South Park might have snuck it in there before Blockbuster shuttered.
All right, so Buy, Rent, Return. I'm gonna. I'm tough on the return one. I'm gonna say buy to. Damn. I'm going to return Simpsons arcade game. That one's gonna happen. It does not aged as well as we remember. It's rough around the edges. My toughness is between Scott Pilgrim and South Park, because South Park has fantastic story. It's hilarious. It is basically, the cartoon not come to life, but it's the cartoon in game form. Everything is solid about it. Scott Pilgrim is also a very solid beat 'em up. It's a long beat 'em up, with progression too, right? So you get a little bit of both. I'm gonna buy Scott Pilgrim for the replayability, and I'm gonna rent South Park.
Good choices. Mr. Mark.
I can't argue with those choices. I came across them for slightly different reasons, but I'm going to mirror John's picks, and I'm going to return the Simpsons arcade game. I enjoyed that one in our local arcade, but it's not something that, like, until you mentioned it today, I looked up some screenshots and I was like, oh yeah, I played that for sure. For the rent, I have never played South Park Stick of Truth. I was a big fan of South Park. Haven't really watched it lately. We were talking before we started recording, and I was a big fan of the South Park N64 game. That kind of humor is funny, but as anyone that's listened to this show for any amount of time knows, I'm not a huge RPG guy. Unless you have 151 plus tiny animals to force into cockfighting rings, I'm probably not going to stick with your RPG too long. So I'm going to rent South Park, get something out of the experience, and enjoy that for what it is. And then I'm going to buy Scott Pilgrim because that is one of my favorite side-scrolling beat-em-ups of the last several years. It is a fantastic game, a fantastic franchise. I love just the movie. I've done the like Scott Pilgrim on shot tour in Toronto, like, just for fun, just driving around to like different places where they shot that film. Yeah, so that's where I'm gonna go with that one. What about you, Todd?
I gotta tell you though, sorry if I may interrupt. The South Park RPG is not as RPG as you may think, though. It's pretty like
I've heard that.
It's as RPG as Pokemon is, in
All
my
right.
opinion. So I mean, if you're a South Park fan, that's enough to play it. Right.
Yeah, it was one of those games that kept like getting pushed down my list. I'd be like, yeah, I'll pick that up next time it goes on sale, and then something else would go on sale, and be like, yeah, okay, I'll wait and get South Park later, and then it just kind of kept getting pushed down, and then it was just kind of like too late, I guess, kind of thing. So eventually, one of these days, I may revisit it.
It's a perfect Switch game, Mark. It's a perfect Switch game. And that's I got it before it came to Switch because it was delayed on Switch. Quite honestly, the last game it didn't come out on the Switch. The Stick of Truth was last gen before the Switch came out, and they ended up porting both to the Switch. So, but it's perfect. It's like 20-hour game for an RPG, which is to me,
and not to
which
mention
leads me into my Absolutely. What is it? This fractured but whole. Yes, depending on how you say it. Which is just it's hilarious because the first one is like, Lord of the Rings inspired, and the second one is all about the MCU and the superheroes, and they actually did TV episodes based like that were tied into the games as well, which I thought was really great. Yeah. So they really did a great job with it. And I think it was Obsidian who did the first game. So
that sounds right.
High end talent, to make the game. So it was great. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to also return the Simpsons arcade game. I think it would be the perfect candidate to bring back in the same light that we got the Turtle Shredder's Revenge, because as you can see what they did, they just expanded it and did some awesome things. And I think the Simpsons, because it's evergreen, they could just bring it back and adapt a whole new storyline, have fun with it. And it's just money waiting to be made. I mean, Disney controls the Simpsons now. I think that would be perfect. But yeah, it's one of those games you could probably, I think it was on Xbox 360. You could get it in their arcade, and it was a game you just play with 4 people, and it really didn't have replayability, I guess, unless you swap characters. So, but yeah, you played it once, you don't really need to play it again. For rent, I'm going with Scott Pilgrim. I enjoy the game, but I love Scott Pilgrim, like the comic book. I remember when that came out, and I heard about it on the Totally Rad Show, and they talked about the premise. I'm like, this book just sounds crazy. I'm gonna read it. Read it, fell in love, and then when the movie came out and it failed, I was so heartbroken because the movie was so good. And I'm like, they nailed it. So, but the game, something that just never clicked with me. I don't know, the comet or something. I'm like, I just have never gotten past like the first level, and I'm like, I gotta go all the back. It didn't, because it took in me, but I would turn it. Yeah, exactly. And I felt like that's part of I think one of the things I liked about some of the more modern beat 'em ups when they've adapted it, like Streets of Rage, which is very much like it. They break it up better. So it's not like feeling like it's punishing you to have to go back. So, but yeah, I mean, it's still a quality game. So the art style, the animation, it's really good. The soundtrack, everything about it is great. For some reason, just didn't connect. But we talked about South Park Stick of Truth. To me, this is my perfect RPG, because it doesn't make you grind. You level as the story goes. It doesn't outstay its welcome. You're always doing something to progress forward. There are a little bit of side paths you can do, but it always feels like it's in service to get moving you forward. And 20 hours is the perfect length. That's why I don't play many RPGs. It's because I feel like it's outstaying its welcome, or it's padding itself with just more of the same, just to get yourself up to higher level. This, I feel like it levels exactly how it needs to level, and it's great. And the fact you can, and the first game was cool because it was more of that standard turn-based RPG. The second game, they completely changed it up. It was more tactical, like line of sight, but it was still turn-based. And I thought both are excellent. So that's why I would buy the South Park Stick of Truth. I highly recommend that. But that's what we had to say.
What was that?
I said, are you going to try the games now?
I might.
Probably
I
not.
might. I'll see. No, you know what? I'll see if the next time they go on sale, I might pick them up. Now that they're
Yeah.
kind of like back on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But now, now that they're back there, I'm gonna actually kind of look at the prices of them, and bringing up that they're good Switch games just kind of got
Oh
me
yeah.
Oh yeah, excellent.
thinking of like, yeah, maybe that is something to sink my teeth into on Switch.
They
Yeah,
are.
good
I
idea.
think they're even like they're kind of sequels to each other. Like they are linked, but
Yeah.
I would say if you don't prefer fantasy and you prefer superheroes, go with Fractured Butthole.
Yeah. Go with a fractured butthole if you
Go
don't.
with a Fractured Butthole. Yeah, I always recommend that. Sorry, I've watched too much boys lately, so my mind goes elsewhere.
Mm.
But moving on, we get into what we've been playing, gents. So speaking of what we've just been talking about, we've all played Shredder's Revenge, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
How? Okay, so we all played it. Did we all play it on Xbox? Where did you play it?
Xbox for me.
Xbox and Switch.
Oh wow, double dipping. But one was
Yep.
free and one was not, unless you don't have Game Pass. But yeah, Game Pass, day and date.
I'm waiting for the physical to get the Switch copy. That's why I didn't double dip.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
so tempted to jump on that physical, the limited run, like the big one that came with
Same.
the retro shredder. Because I have all 4 turtles in box retro style upstairs, and I'd love that shredder, but
Oh, there we
I
go.
I couldn't do
Somebody's
it.
showing off
Yeah,
his
those ones.
Shredder,
There we go.
Mega Shredder, and all the variations of the turtles. Holy
Mhm.
cowabunga! Oh, and then the Power Rangers turtles too.
Power Ranger
Sweet.
Turtles right here.
That's
Right
awesome.
there, Power Ranger
Do you see
Turtles.
how I
Sorry,
did that?
audio.
Holy cowabunga! And if you're watching on video, you're
Yeah,
seeing this unveiled right in front of your faces.
absolutely. That's
I don't. I
amazing.
put him back up, but he's gonna fall. And I actually recently. Hold on, sorry. I have to share my stuff. I recently got this at a flea market. Had this when I was a
Okay.
kid, and somebody was selling
Oh,
this.
stuffed turtle.
Nice.
Yeah, this is this
Oh,
is this is straight vintage from '87, and
Wow.
I
oh,
actually had. Yeah,
Michelangelo.
yeah. Oh,
Nice.
Mikey. All right, sorry. What were we talking
Nice.
about? Turtles.
Oh no, just we've all been playing it. So Mark double dipped. Xbox. I have not played much of it because once again in the middle of move. So I've only really played the first level, which I thought was fantastic. And I don't want to take away from John since you put it on your list, but by all means, does it live up to the hype?
Absolutely. It it's amazing in every way. This is gonna be bold. It may trump Turtles in Time.
Ooh,
I think
big
you've got
words.
it.
Yep.
It's
But
bold, but
you might be accurate.
yeah, I mean, it really takes everything from every single turtle game and it makes it perfect, right?
Mhm.
My only qualm with it was that I almost wish that there was a little bit more of a color palette between each turtle's skin, because
Mm.
especially when you're in 6 players, the bandana colors are not enough. It's not enough. It
You want to be April, or you want to
Yeah,
be
Yeah, you
somebody else.
really, yeah.
exactly. No, but like from the music, which I've pre-ordered the vinyl already, from music to the look, the feel, everything, it's it's the total package. It's
Yep.
fantastic. I remember what actually when it, sometimes Xbox will put the games out a little bit earlier, or you go to their website, you can download it. I was up until like midnight or 1 o'clock clicking refresh, refresh. Once it came on at 9, I downloaded right away, and I was skipping meetings and things.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but
Wow.
no, it's perfect. I also was going to jump for the big box edition. Um, uh, I don't know, Mark, if you've seen it, but like if you've added it to the cart all the way through, but all the way through, you're looking at 300 plus
Yeah.
after conversion, shipping, taxes,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And there's a lot of cool stuff in there, but as you can see, this is getting really full.
Tight.
So I think I may not do it. I think I'll still get the regular, not the regular one. There's a second edition,
Mhm.
which the game comes in like a VHS case with some extra
That's
stickers,
cool.
things like that.
Yep.
That'll be enough. And then don't forget, we have the Cowabunga collection coming
That's
at
right.
some point this year. That one I'm a little bit more, even though the special edition is roughly the same price. It's lesser Canadian, and you can get it at an EB Games or a GameStop. And it
that's
comes
good.
with a giant cloth poster made by Kevin Eastman. So,
Oh, neat.
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you played all of the characters? Because I know when you play through first time you unlock Casey Jones. Obviously, I haven't gotten that far, and I've only played as Raphael because that's my turtle of choice. But I have not. So do you feel that each turtle and April and Splinter and Casey are different enough that makes it replayable?
Yeah, I've played through. I don't think I played a Splinter yet, actually, but I've played through most of them. I beat the game as Raph, and then I played a bunch with some of the other characters. I helped some friends with Casey, but everyone does have their own thing to them. But they don't feel like you're playing completely different characters, but they feel different enough that you have an advantage to each one. Like everyone has their own little qualities to them. Obviously, Donnie's got the stick, and April's got some big swings with her camera. But everyone has their own little thing without being too different, but just different enough. I feel like Streets of Rage is more of a game that separates the characters more, where they feel more different. Not so much here, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I find they kind of learn from past Turtles games where like a lot of the old Turtle games, like Donatello's kind of the easy mode because you get extra reach with the bow staff, and that's who you pick if you really want to go through solo mode kicking some ass because no one's going to touch you. So by default, like the first character growing up playing those games, when I started playing this, like the first character I tried was Donatello, because I was like, oh yeah, gotta go Donatello, need that extra reach. And I was like, wait a second, I wonder what the balance is like. So I switched. So I've played myself. I played as like Michelangelo and Leonardo as well. I haven't beaten the game yet, but and I watched so my wife too. She played as, I think she played as Mikey and April too. So like I've seen a few characters in action, and yeah, I think John, you nailed it right on the head. Like they're different enough, but not so much so that like one character is a little bit OP and like another one's gonna get ignored, which really helps the 6 player because everyone's got something to do. Everyone has their own talents, but no one's gonna just be kind of sitting in a corner like, oh, I have like Raphael size that have a half an inch reach, and like versus the 6 foot reach of a bow staff. So I found that they really like learned from, I'm not going to say the mistakes, but I think they learned from past games where the character balance might not have been as good. So yeah, I think they nailed it.
Yeah, the last Turtles game I believe we got was the Platinum title, and I wanted to really like that game, but it wasn't Platinum's best effort. But it was a beautiful looking game, and what I like about what this game did, it really upped the ante in regards to the move sets, like the amount of combinations and just taunting and all the different aspects made it a lot of fun. There's a lot of collectibles. So, throwing characters directly into the screen, which always loved it when it happened in the arcade. Now it's part of a strategy, which is great. Yeah. So they've really outdone themselves. So I'm really excited, and I'll give a shout out to Luke Lore. He had one of the developers of this game, .emu, and I think it's Tribute Games, I think.
Tribute
they
Games
also
was
did,
a developer, yeah.
Yeah. And I think they were part of Streets of Rage as well, or .emu developed it. I can't remember how it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
They published it, and
Yep.
I can't remember who developed it, but Tribute Games did not develop that one though. I forgot who.
But I mean, what I heard about their passion for Turtles was amazing, and
you can see it.
Yeah, and they even talked about like the reason they don't have like costumes and different things because like we put a lot of effort in those sprites. So it was definitely a passion project, and I just think this is the right way to do this type of game. And I just really it's awesome. So I definitely want to play more. I'm trying to talk to my son to do some couch co-op. We only have 2 Xbox controllers though, so can't really do more than that. I think the Xbox actually supports 6, PlayStation supports 4, and
but
Switch
you can
8.
You can mix
online and local, right?
and couch.
Yes.
So if the two of you are playing, you could fire an invite to myself, to John, to whoever, and get some 6-player with 2 of you on couch co-op, or
Perfect.
a mix of, like myself and Loren or someone or whatever. It's like you can mix it up that way and have a bunch of people join. The only, I guess, fault for me after playing another game that we'll talk about, Fall Guys, no cross save, no cross play, no cross progression. It's a bit of a pain that way. There's no real advantage for playing on Xbox, other than it's included on Game Pass.
Achievements, maybe
achievements, whatever. But as far as like graphically goes, like it's even classified as an Xbox One game. It's not even a series game.
No, there is no next gen version or anything like that.
No. So it's not like it's really pushing any kind of anything too hard. So it would have been nice to see a little bit of that crossplay, at least, if not cross save and all that kind of stuff. But that the reason I bought it on Switch is because, one, absolutely freaking perfect with a Super Nintendo controller, and I do have the 8BitDo controller that can switch to an Xbox or whatever. But 2-player with 2 SNES controllers, freaking chef's kiss on Switch. It's fantastic.
Yeah, because it does use the D-pad pretty, I think, interchangeably with the regular joystick, which is cool. So there's no crossplay.
No, only within the same system, the system family.
So
you can do
Xbox and PC. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, you can do that.
And
got it.
Essentially, I think PS4 and PS5, but I don't think that's ready yet. But not
for
across.
Real?
I think I read that because they talked about crossplay, but as like cross platforms, like different systems, no, which is a bummer. But what can you do?
For sure.
Yeah,
especially
definitely
with such a built-in built-in amount of people on Game Pass. But for anyone that's picking it up on PlayStation or Switch, it'd be nice to have, like, hey, all my Game Pass buddies or whatever, right? So anyway, that's the one small fault in such a perfect game.
Absolutely.
I will say about people asking for DLC, talking about costumes, like, if you go back to the 80s Turtles, they did have like a lot of fun gimmicky things, but the toys were more the gimmicky costumes. Like, what more costumes do you need? I don't feel like costumes is what you want at a DLC. Like, that's not what you want. You want more levels. I don't know if I want more costumes
or modes, maybe too.
Modes, exactly.
Yeah. There are a few toys that stick out to me, or like costumes from like the movies and stuff, like kind of undercover Raphael, or I think I had like detective or undercover Donatello, the toy. Those kind of things, I think, you could kind of mess around with, but like too much further than that, you like, what are you gonna get, like party hat Raphael or something? Like, it's just, like, and I remember all those gimmicky kind of toys, but I think you're right. Like, this is kind of more of a pure experience where they spent a ton of time on those sprites, like you said, where I don't know, if they're gonna expand on it, maybe add some new levels or something. Like, I'm happy with where they are. Like you said, I think a little bit of color variation for the turtles, like different shades of green, a little bit more, but otherwise, this is so great.
The only thing I could see is, and this would be too difficult to pull off, would be the different versions of the turtles, like the turtles from the comics, the turtles from like obviously their style would be very hard to pull off in a
comic one would be tough because you think the color variations aren't enough now.
Black and white.
4 turtles just in black and white.
Color, just a color bandana.
I was thinking like the original, like no color bandanas, just straight black and white, and different weapons.
I want to quickly go back when you talked about Mutants in Manhattan, the Platinum game. And I'm with you. Is that obviously I played that for a while until I got so frustrated with it. But my recent desire to just want to drown myself in anything Turtles, I want to play it again, even though I know I'm going to regret it. I have a copy that I did not pay for on PC, but it's not good enough. Like, I want to just get it on my Xbox and play it on Xbox, but they've delisted it. There's a
that's a shame. The licenses,
It actually got delisted very quickly, like within the year that it was
weird.
released. It got delisted. Yeah,
so weird.
And it was annoying because the gameplay was, solid, but the world was empty. The graphics looked amazing. There is a shop selling it up the street, still sealed, and I might go get it because I'm like, I'm just, I'm just in the groove. You know what I mean? I just, I just need it. I don't know. I'm
Yep.
bad.
I get that. You're reminding me, you have that same little itch looking in your eyes as when my son started watching the Skylanders cartoon, and I was like, "What's
Mm.
available? What can I get?" And I'm like searching on like Kijiji and Marketplace for like used Skylander games that I could show him and just kind of be like, "Hey, look, it's a video game."
8 years ago, you could have bought it all for 2 cents
I
for it. Now
know. I
it's
know.
it's like Guitar
Has it
Hero
skyrocketed?
controllers. Oh yeah,
Has the
because
Skylanders?
there's like this nostalgia for it now, and it's just so hard to
Wow.
find. And
I
I
wish
still
I
have
knew.
some, I think,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, there was a garage sale down the street a couple weeks ago, and this guy had stacks and stacks and stacks of the Skylanders games. $5, like all in like the original boxes. But I thought
With
that
the
was
portals.
yeah, the whole thing. I thought of like
Mhm.
for
Holy cow!
every classic platform, Xbox 360, Wii U, PS3 or whatever.
Mhm.
I didn't think that one was. I recently just sold my Lego Dimensions set
Oh yeah.
for like 250, 275 for and I had a decent amount of characters. Like that one surprisingly had held value, and the
Mm.
person that bought it just wanted an extra an extra portal. So I
Mm.
kept the disc versions. I actually have a PS3 disc and a PS4 disc, which apparently people really want. So
Well.
ching ching. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna go to the shop tomorrow. I'm like, hey, these are worth money. Give me one copy of Mutants in Manhattan. We'll call it a deal.
Ooh, that's a good plan.
I'm gonna try. Oh, and
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
the limited edition Green Arrow Lego Dimensions figure that was only at convention. So I'm hoping with that combination of things, I can walk away with a free TMNT game that I'm gonna bash across the floor after it frustrates me.
Yeah, and enjoy.
Or just put it in, play it for like 5 seconds, and then put it on the shelf. It's like it looks better than it plays. Yeah,
Has
that's
anyone
yeah.
ever beaten the dam level in in the NES game?
No, no.
No.
That game should be on the NES on Switch Online, so you can do save states. That's the only way you can do that.
It will
Yeah.
have it in the Cowabunga collection though. There'll be a rewind and save states and all
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
there you
I'm gonna
go.
finally beat it. I'm
We
gonna
can
finally.
finally get past that level.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I've derailed you guys enough. Continue.
No,
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 that's
this
fine.
is good. This is what
That's
we do.
fine. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll move on. We'll pick up the pace a little bit here. Let's see. We all played that game. What's next? So okay, I see John. You played Cuphead. Did you play the DLC's not out yet though, right?
No, no. The DLC is not out yet. I actually was playing. I played it a long time ago, and then I put it down. I stopped at aisle 3, and I've always wanted to get back into it, but I was so frustrated with it. And then my kid was really liking the show, and I just wanted to try it again. And since trying it, I've knocked out 4 or 5 levels, and
Oh,
Got
dang.
your groove.
All right.
I'm really into it right now.
It's such a great game. But yeah, once you get out of it and then you step away, you lose that skill set. But it's a
Yeah,
great game. But yeah, I did not get very far in it.
yeah. That's why I got to stick through it to the end right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, will you be too burnt out to play the DLC, or are you getting yourself hyped up for it?
I'm probably going to wait only because there's so much to play, and I've been burnt too many times by buying things day one. Like,
Mm.
just sales happen way too much. There's too much out
Yep.
there to bother buying stuff right away. So I'll probably wait a bit. Probably be a little bit of burnout by the time I get there, anyways. And there's just
Yeah,
so much more to play.
absolutely.
Delicious Last Course DLC. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
A good pun. And love a good song because that little intro video,
Oh, that soundtrack.
Chef's Kiss. Yes,
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
use some puppets and everything. Absolutely love it. Very cool. So, Mark,
Yeah.
you and John have both been playing Fall Guys, which I
Yeah.
played back in the day when it was on PS Plus and it was all the rage. Now it's free to play for everybody on
Mhm.
You
Epic,
did it
right?
before it was
So,
cool.
yeah, exactly. And I was bad at it then.
Yeah, it's great. I was kind of scared that this game was going to not be able to recapture some of that magic from when it first launched. It was big, right? Everyone was talking about it, but it was just a PlayStation exclusive, and it was like the hot thing for a hot second, and then kind of just like, I don't know, for my circles and stuff anyway, like kind of, dropped off the zeitgeist, or a little bit at least. And they kind of pushed back on the extra versions, and Epic bought the developer and blah, blah, blah. But here we are, and it's kind of blowing up again. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it on Twitter. I'm seeing a lot of people playing it. I'm enjoying it. I played it on both Xbox and Switch. This game, unlike Shredder's Revenge, 100% optimized for new hardware, 100% better on an Xbox. On Switch, it is playable.
Yes, playable.
It is slower. It's some of your opponents will move at a crisp and snappy 4 frames per second, but it is playable. You can kind of rock through it, and we've been so much so that my wife and I have been playing it together, with one on Xbox and another on Switch, and it's been fine. It's very easy to join your epic friends and to create parties, join parties, have a group chat, just like you would expect from the makers of Fortnite, that make it so easy to play with your friends on a toaster or an Xbox or whatever you would download that game on, just not an iPhone. It's really solid and super goofy and fun. And I, of course, bought the season pass because the first thing you unlock is an Altair skin. So my Assassin's Creed hoariness, just that was an instant purchase for me. I was like, oh, something Assassin's Creed, let's go. But it's been fun to work through and progress through another battle pass, just like I'm used to in Fortnite. So Epic has a formula. It works for them. There's a store that you can buy new outfits and all that kind of stuff, and earn and buy new coins and whatever to spend on your outfits and emotes. The same formula. It's worked for them for years for Fortnite. It seems to be working now, and I'm loving seeing this game kind of get that resurgence. So I hope it kind of keeps up with the popularity, and they keep going with entertaining season passes and new game modes and all that kind of stuff. John, what's been your experience with this one?
Yesterday was my first time playing. Got it for the free to play. I just yesterday alone, I've reached level 17.
All right.
So,
what does that mean? What does that mean? I have no context.
Just
of
like a progress. So that's like as you play, you gain experience, and the level is just going through like the battle pass on what you're unlocking. I didn't put any money in. I've made that mistake more than once where I put the money in and I dropped the game. Halo Infinite, Fortnite, list goes on, right? Apex Legends. Now I'm gonna wait until I actually get somewhere, and if I make it close to the end, then I'll buy it and then reap all the rewards. But
yeah,
it's a ton of fun. I did not expect it to be this much fun. What's good on the Switch is like the light games. For example, today on June 27th, they had the one mode where it's just the jumping level, where you're just jumping over that bar that goes around, and that's perfect for Switch, right? Not too demanding. But yeah, I can see the other levels being a lot, but the characters are adorable. This is a game that you'll want costumes because you want to customize your character. This is where it makes sense. And I was talking about with some friends yesterday where games like this are what I want now I'm 35 now, and playing games for so long, I am tired of shooting people. I'm tired of shooting humans. We have enough gun violence in this world. I do not want to shoot people anymore. I'm okay with shooting demons. I got no problem with that. But your Call of Duties and all that stuff, like actually putting a bullet through another person, that's not fun anymore. It's nice to have a free to play game that's not about a battle royale and all that kind of stuff. It's just a bunch of little squishy things racing to the end. There's no violence. It's just wholesome. So it's really that to me what I'm taking away the most of it, and it's what is making me like it the most and how good it feels.
It's like a toddler battle royale, really, because it's like a bunch of toddlers, like very uncoordinated, running around. It's like watching a kid's soccer match at that age. It's like I don't know what the hell's going on.
It is 100% just drunk toddler wipeout. Like,
exactly.
I want John Cena and Nicole Byers to be commenting on my playthroughs. Like that is.
Here's a big thing, and it hits you, and it's like, oops. Yeah. It's fun. It's dumb fun. Yeah.
And one of the last rounds levels is kind of like a play on It, if you will, or like cooties. It's like you one person
Got it. Yeah.
is you like that, Mark? One person is
It's pretty good.
sick or infected or whatever, and you have to basically just infect the rest of the other team, and that's it. And it's so simple. But I was just playing, and I won it for the team, and you're chasing anybody. You're like, oh my god, they're getting after me, and it's so much fun. It's just so like wholesome is the best word for it.
Yeah. It's goofy fun. Yeah, it's just a larger than life. It's all ages. I remember when Sean's son Henry came over when Fall Guys came over. I'm like, you got to give this a try, Henry. So he was playing it and he was just having a blast. And I was bad at it, but I was still having a blast. So it's really no skill required, and it's just fun because every level feels like it's like Squid Game with toddlers, and that's really the best way to put it.
I like that you went Squid Game instead of Wipeout. Yeah. That just shows where you're at mentally, I think, Tom.
I have a 16-year-old.
And that to your point, it is so easy to pick up that the first time my wife picked it up, she was like, is there a explanation? I was like, no, think of it like Mario Party. Like it explains the game right before you go. If you can press forward on the control stick and the jump button, like you're solid. Like there is the ledge grabs that you have to
and the jump's not great.
No, but you're so uncoordinated, like it doesn't matter. And it's so just wholesome and perfect and just innocent and goofy. There's
no
really
gear. There's nothing like I have an advantage over you. It's just I look dumber than you, or I've got a cooler costume than you.
The stuff that you want to put on your character almost gives you a disadvantage because you're wearing like a freaking dinosaur head and your field of view is all screwed up.
You're trapped through the door. I can't get through.
Whatever. Yeah, I want to look stupid, and it's so great. I love it.
And it will be my detriment to look stupid, but that's okay. Style over substance. Oh, very, very good. Yeah, Fall Guys is now on everything free to play. Set it up. It's all through an Epic account now, so everything just goes where you go, which is great. And they know how to do this. They have Rocket League, they have Fortnite, and now this. So they are swimming in the cash. So very, very good. So we go from there to the next game. Let's see. I'll do a game. The Terror of Hemasaurus. This is an Xbox Game Fest demo that's currently out now. Early access on PC, I believe, but it's not for sale yet. Lauren Lemke, who made Super Blood Hockey, this is his follow-up, which makes sense. You make a hockey game that's bloody and violent. Then you make a Godzilla Rampage simulator. And all I can tell you is this game is phenomenal. It's the best Godzilla sim you would ever want. It's all about goofy humor. Essentially, global warming happens, and this dinosaur that was in an iceberg, it basically plays on it because you got a diehard basically saying, "Oh, global warming won't hurt anybody." Well, this iceberg washes up on this beach, and found by a death cult that essentially wants people who are killing the Earth to die, and they think the best way to bring that about is with this Godzilla type creature. So you essentially then go through a tutorial where they're telling you how to kill people and how to like rack up the most violence, but it's so humorous and so goofy, and it's like Rampage but actually good. So like it's fun. It's you've got a lot of move mechanics, like you can pick up people, you can throw people, you can kick people. To bring down helicopters, guess what you do? You throw them into the blades and then they drop down. The buildings have cool physics where as you go up them and knock them down, they go over, and just the particle effects and the destruction is amazing. You kick cars into buildings and you eat humans to survive, and the cops will shoot you. You eat them or you throw them, and you have goals of getting a certain amount of percentage of the buildings destroyed or a certain amount of humans. And the demo is fantastic. It gives you a lot to play. And I eventually died because I got a little overzealous. I was too focused on the terrorizing versus the survival part where I actually was getting beat up pretty bad. But it's phenomenal. I think you can still get the demo on Xbox. It is a hoot. The sense of humor, the self-deprecation, the imagery, it's that pixely art, but it really works well, and it's just fun to play.
Awesome. Yeah,
I gotta look into that. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, Super Blood Hockey is such a great game. So
such a good game.
Anything from that developer is going to be like thumbs up for me.
I love it. And it will play well on anything. It doesn't require high-end hardware. So I assume this will come to Switch just like Super Blood Hockey did. It'll do great there. and it's probably going to be $20. So well worth playing. So from there, Mario Strikers, which I have in the mail from GameFly. Hopefully, it comes to my right house because I ordered something on eBay and realized I had the wrong address. And apparently, the new owner decided that he didn't want to get it to me, or I'm too scared to go over because we'll see. But Mario Strikers, I played the little demo where it was offline, but I didn't play anything more than that. John, how is it?
It's great. I know that doesn't sound like great the way I said that, but it is a lot of fun. The gameplay core is strong enough that people are complaining, oh, there's not enough content and there's no solo mode. I'm like, what solo mode do you need at a soccer game? People wanted a story or a campaign, but what are you gonna do? A season? They have that. They have cup battles, right? You do the cups just like in Mario Kart 8, where you have cups. Mind you, those are different courses, but Mario Kart 8 doesn't have a campaign of any kind. Again, I know the courses are different, but that's a racing game. This is a soccer game. The point is to play soccer. I sound like I'm being a little strict, but when we got a campaign in Mario Tennis, that was kind of weird and it didn't really work out. A lot of people were complaining about Mario Golf. I didn't play that one, but people were complaining about that. So they stuck to what works, and the online works. They have club games where you start your own club and you have seasons and you rank up. But it is bare bones in the sense that yes, there only is soccer to play. There's no other versions of it, no other gimmicks to it. But for what the game is, it's solid. My daughter loves playing it, so we've been playing a lot together. I've played with some friends online. Online, it gets frustrating, but that's mainly because you realize that there's people around the world that are just really good at games or just have no life, and they just spend all their time with it. But overall, I would say it's a lot of fun. As long as you're into it, it's a lot of fun to play. And I'm still enjoying my time with it. I just got to. It's more frustrating to me sometimes to play that than it is to play Cuphead, though.
Wow,
if that helps.
Wow, yeah.
Does it have the Mario Kart effect where it turns around and they can blue shell your equivalent?
Not well. Yes and no. It has that, but the good thing is that you can come back from anything, right? Like I've come back from to the point where I'm like I'm done. But you can come back to anything. They have something called hyper strikes, which if you pull off, they do this big super move, and it counts as 2 goals. So you pull one of those off, and you're back in it. And there, when you have certain items and certain power ups, you're not unstoppable. You still can be stopped. It's just all about how you strategize it. So I wouldn't say it's like that. The tide can turn like that, but it's not that bad. It's more about you figuring out the best way to how to use your items, when to use your items. And the good thing is that there's a limited amount of gear, so you get coins as you play through the game, and you can buy gear for your different characters, and the gear will give you better strength but weakening your passing, or better speed but weaken your shooting. So you work on your head, your chest, your gloves, and your feet, and between those you balance them out to make your characters better in what you feel like needs to be better, right? So if you have a really high technique bar, then you can pull off amazing moves in the sense that I can shoot the ball from right in front of the net, and it'll curve around them so that they won't even see it coming. So there is more strategy to it than just playing. Like having the right team is a huge difference. You can't just go, yeah, I'll be Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Bowser, and then you're set. No, you got to play to your strengths and play appropriately.
Cool. Are there mini games? I know that used to be part of okay, so like Mario Tennis, you would have the games where you have to hit the targets and things like that. Okay, so that's
what I'm saying. Like I think people wanted more of that, and as from someone that had Mario Tennis and I got frustrated with it really fast, I feel like I don't know, like maybe it's not necessary. Maybe some people didn't like it, maybe some people did, but it has a soccer, it does it right, and I don't feel like it needs to be more than that. I'm interested to see what more would be, but I don't.
I think Nintendo has a problem, and I mean it's not just a Nintendo problem. I think there's a problem with the value proposition when you get to games like that. That it's people don't look at the quality of things. It's like tennis had this many modes,
Yeah.
and Strikers has one, but they're the same price. Well, why am I getting 5 modes versus one mode for the same price? Or you look at something like MLB The Show or other sports games that are like they have a full create a character and a full season and story mode and voice acted, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, why is that the same price as Strikers? And it's like, well, you can't really compare, like it's not always an apples to apples comparison even within, you know, Nintendo franchises. So it's tough, and there's no like easy answer to be like, yeah, Mario Strikers is, you know, bare bones, but it's still $80 or whatever, right? So it is a tough one, but there's something to be said about that focus of, you know, if the gameplay, like comparing it to Mario Kart, like kind of solid, right? Like
Yeah. With the
it's
exception of the courses,
um,
like that'll
right.
be the argument people make. It's like, well, you know, you have 24 courses. I know, but you're also
Mhm.
like in Mario Kart, yes, if you raced around the same track over and over again, that would be boring. But
Mhm.
in when you're playing soccer, so many different things can happen, right? You don't, even though it's always the same field, it's never the same game. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can't memorize the track or the field to know where to play. So it's
Yeah.
always going to be a different match for you. And even when you do the cup battles and you get all your trophies, then you move to the galactic mode, which is the same cups but much, much, much harder. Um,
Hmm.
and that has prepared me for some of the online people. But I am struggling on the cup battles, and it's I can't just play. You know, when you're playing soccer, you always change your player and chase the ball, right? You can't do that. You
Yeah.
have to play more strategically. So,
Hmm.
like, it's for me, it's not that there needs to be more modes. I feel like there's enough here. I don't know what more people want. And yeah, it is another thing with hours. So I used to be like that. Well, how many hours is this game? Is how many hours am I
Yeah.
going to get out of this game? No, now it's just like that's too many hours. I'll pay you more if you give me less hours. Like,
I feel the same way now. It's you said something earlier about, like, you know, your age and what you've got going on, and I'm the same way now. It's like, okay, can I sit down and have a cinematic type experience that's over in 5 hours so I can just get the story mode? And we've talked about that before. Of like, yeah, if I want to play a game for a story, I'm turning it on story mode, easy
mhm.
mode, walking through, like, just, you know, let me see what's going on in this story that's gripped me, because I have this many hours to play and it's limited. So
I
yeah,
blame
I
Game
get
Pass
you.
too. I blame Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game Pass has
Yeah.
caused a lot of trouble. Like a lot
Yep.
of games, you'll buy all these games, and then you're like, "Ooh, shiny Game Pass games," and then you
Yeah.
download them all, and
Or
then
yeah, play it, try it. Oh, didn't hook me. Go to the next one.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
changing lives.
I'm wondering on the strikers though, maybe the problem is with Switch players to a large extent, a lot of them like solo experiences. And that might be a challenge. So like a Nintendo Switch Lite. You're probably playing it solo. You might not be connected to the internet. You want to play it on a road trip, and it's like, I want a story. I want something to take me through. So I think that might be the connect where even like NBA 2K, the other sports games, they
Mhm.
have robust,
Yeah.
robust. I mean, like we're talking about like millions of hours of content for single playing,
Yeah.
and Nintendo is like they give you enough often, and sometimes comparative to other sports games,
Mhm.
it feels lacking to a large extent
Well,
because they also have the dynasty modes and special moments like in NBA in the one sports games, they have all the special moments through time. You can play as Babe Ruth hitting this home run. I mean, that's a fantastic experience. And with this, it feels like it plays well, but
mhm.
it's pretty limited experience from a solo player
Yeah,
perspective. So I think I can understand why people would be saying,
yeah,
I only want to play it solo. This is pretty limited. I don't have a big group of friends to play with. Like, I'm a dad. I can't play with friends online. So this is all I'm getting. It feels like a $20 mode, potentially, if you're not going to play
yeah.
it online.
It's also the Nintendo tax, right? Like any
Yeah.
you no Nintendo game is like you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah.
And to like some of the other things, like for example, just another soccer game on Switch, you know, the FIFA series, which has gotten the rough end of the stick on Switch, but really
Oh yeah.
you have a season mode, right? What's a season mode? Season is a bunch of games and then you win.
Yeah.
What's the
Hmm.
difference between a cup battle? I play 5 games and I won a cup, right?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
I compare it to soccer, it's no difference. I don't need anything more. But yeah, I get it from that point, and even from a single player perspective, it's gonna get old eventually. but I feel like that's most sports games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned just last time we recorded that I was picking up a season from Super Mega Baseball that I started like 3 or 4 years ago that I never finished because it was taking way too long. So I kind of appreciate a game that's just kind of whittled down to its core essence and focused. So this might be one. I did enjoy the demo of this. So this is another one that was like, it came out and I was like, maybe not right now, but you're kind of convincing me to get it, which is kind of good.
Where are you located in the old Canada?
Nova Scotia.
I don't know if they rent games at your local library, but you could always try that because that's where
They
you
do.
can.
They do.
You can try that, and then you could just try it out that way.
Yeah.
A trip for Finn to the library, go get a game, Mark.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I used to have the Logan, and our libraries have stopped tracking games since the Wii era. I think you might still be able to get Wii games for my library, but that's where they stopped. But I have it coming from GameFly, so I'll give it a try. But I'm not one person to play in multiplayer, so I will probably be glad I'm getting it from GameFly. Try it out, have a little bit of fun with it, and return it, which is cool with me.
You can even play through the cup battles and then be done with it.
If I'm even that good, I suck at sports games. So even the arcade ones, okay. Yeah. I hopefully it's super easy and I feel really good about myself. That's all I want. But I played a game that is very much story mode, Mark, and that's the Quarry. This is by Supermassive Games. They've made, essentially, this is their 5th game because they made Until Dawn. They've made 3 games of the Man of Medan series, or the Midnight Pictures series. And this is a game that just came out of nowhere called The Quarry, where it's that mode. It's essentially a teen horror flick. They're at camp and something is going on. Decisions matter. And they have got a lot of talent from Hollywood. They've got Ted Raimi, which would be Sam Raimi's brother, who's been in a lot of things. Blanking on his name, the alien from the android from Alien. Can't remember his name. Lance Henricks, and then also Justice Smith from the Pokemon movie. So, and they're very good acted, and it's very fun. And it's got limited interaction. Like you'll be in a quick time event where you don't want to hit a limb that's hanging down because you're getting chased. So they'll be very quickly. They smartly changed from button prompts to directional position, just down. That makes so much more sense, especially if you're a new gamer. Why would I look to I have to look at my pad. Oh, did I hit the right one? This makes much more sense. Exactly, and I screwed up on Until Dawn because I was playing remote play on the PSP for my PS4 back in the day, and it was like, I screwed up and died ultimately. And this game does have a scenario where there's consequences. Not everybody survives, and it's a lot of fun. It's if you like schlocky slasher horror films that are just fun to play, getting to play as a lot of different characters. There's a mystery. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's a perfect game if you just want to play with someone on the couch next to you. And you say, do you want to make the decision or do you want to take the controller? And there's an online mode coming actually where you can play up with like 8 to 8 people. And then you have I think they said there's over 120 different endings, or depending on the decisions you make. So Ryan Turford on the Xbox Drive played it and he played it 8 times. I'm like, what?
What a cast list too! I'm just looking that up. Ariel Winter from Modern Family. I've got Brenda Song. She's always delightful. Like you said, Justice Smith, David Arquette, Ethan Suplee, who's always awesome.
Michael Shannon.
Holy crap, man! What a I'm sure I'm missing people there, but just running through quickly. But wow, yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I got it on Xbox from GameFly. I'm playing it, really having a great time, and I will definitely beat this game. I wish it was coming out for Halloween, but you know what? They don't always time the Halloween spooky games with this Halloween time. But if you're looking for that experience, I really highly recommend this game. I think you'll be really happy with the experience.
Sweet.
All right, gents, did we miss anything, or are we ready to move on to the news?
Yeah.
It's all I played.
All right. Well, the news this week is very just one story. It's been like the doldrums with news because of all the gaming events. But we do have someone who's doing their own thing. That's Nintendo. We are getting a Nintendo Direct Mini. And we did have one Direct, I believe it was last week, with the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that went over like a resounding fart for people who are not a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, which I am not, and Mark, I don't think you are. And at this point,
watch the Direct.
I didn't either. I assumed it was a lot of information telling me things I could probably care less about. But for those who are like RPGs in the series, it's there.
I said on I think I said on Twitter, like, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but like this wasn't what I wanted right now. And like I know that sounds so privileged. It's like, this isn't what I wanted. So like, cool if you're excited about Xenoblade, but like every other developer is, like showing off what they're doing really, and this is kind of the time to do it. Nintendo again walking, not even marching, just kind of walking to the beat of their weird little Wii music drummer. So they're gonna, Nintendo's gonna do what Nintendo's gonna do. So here we go. We got another. This is the partner showcase, Nintendo Direct Mini, happening. So by the time people listen to this episode, it will have already happened. But since we're recording on June 27th and it happens tomorrow morning, June 28th, this is going to be our best guesses, and you can listen and just kind of laugh at how wrong we are, except for when I say this is definitely going to feature Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That is pretty much a guarantee at this point. There's been some leaks because it's a Mario Rabbids game, so it's going to leak, and that's going to happen. But what else do you guys expect, want, think we're going to see tomorrow?
There's been
John?
rumors of GoldenEye dropping tomorrow.
Oh man,
that would be a good pick because it's a partner game.
Yeah. And the other thing is, there is a rumor that something is going to shadow drop. That their one more thing is going to be a shadow drop of something. So I am very curious if that is going to be.
I hope that's GoldenEye because I want to play that right
that
away.
Would be appropriate. Yeah, doesn't
I hope
require
those
marketing.
Are the same rumor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough because GoldenEye has a very unique spot in the world, and I don't know how it's gonna, like, we've already had the remake that was the game was remade with like a modern sensibility, and
Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah. And it was pretty much modern. So like, are they just going to take the original and try to make that work that way? It's not. I don't know. I'm not super excited for that because I'm worried on how it will go. Funny enough, watch It's Just the N64 version for Switch Online.
Oh, that would make sense first. That would be your first, the first hit right there. That would make sense. And then do the game later on. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's, what? I didn't mention it, but I have been playing Pokemon Snap N64 with the N64 controller on Switch Online. It's solid, man. It's better than I remember it.
It's funny because I got the new Pokemon Snap because I thought my kid would like it, and she hasn't even touched it. But I don't understand. I don't know. I feel like I can't go back to Snap. It's just like it was something when you were younger. I don't know if it still holds now.
I think it for me anyway, it holds, and I didn't like it when it first came out. Like it was just not for me at all. And I played the new one, loved it, and then played this one. And it's very much, I'm enjoying it way more than I did when I was a kid. So we'll see. Todd, anything else that you're expecting tomorrow?
That's a hard one because to the constraints it's in, and Nintendo always lies. So they always say, "Oh, it's only going to be this," but then they do the thing. They launch something. So it's always why you watch Nintendo showcase, because they have pretty much mapped out their back half, and it's a pretty strong back half. I mean, we've got Splatoon 3 after Xenoblade Chronicles. We've got then the 2 Pokemon games. We've got Live Alive, which they showcased at their indie show, one of the directs, I think it was there. And then, but that's about it. I mean, but there's enough for everybody there. But I mean, wow, I'm not sure. I mean, I think you guys make great points about GoldenEye. Is there anything that could, I mean, I would love it if it's like a Bayonetta 3, because that is not developed by Nintendo. It's published by Nintendo. Right. And I think that could be a great game. But I don't think it's a game. Yeah, I just don't think it's a game that's like a big holiday game for them. So I mean, I think they've talked about there was going to be a Zelda game every year, and that potentially could be the one shadow drop, one more thing, maybe, or at least they call it out and they have a direct for it. Is that Zelda HD collection we've been hearing about.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a bigger direct that we'll hear about Zelda. We'll hear about the Metroid Prime remake that's been, the rumors have been recirculating today. I think for this, we're going to see stuff like Dragon Quest Treasure or Treasures. They said they were going to talk more about that in June. We're getting close. Like you're kind of running out of time. This makes sense for when they're going to drop that. I think this is going to be a lot of like Japanesey stuff. I could imagine seeing some like Persona, maybe that kind of, like those kind of games that like.
That's true, because it was already announced for Xbox.
Yeah. So I can see that. I could see there are some like wacky rumors about like Red Dead Redemption 2. So there might be this
streaming.
This might be one of those partner like streaming things. Like we're gonna see Assassin's Creed, Red Dead. Like there's gonna be a streaming section of this, whether you like it or not. Like I think this is. Like it. Yeah, no, I don't.
I didn't hear.
Nobody does, but that's how you get it. Yeah, that's how you get it.
If you just have a Switch, then cool. It's a neat option for you.
I agree with you, because right before I had to decide between getting a Switch or PS5 or PS4, whatever I was at that time, I remember thinking, you know what, I'm only going to be able to get a Switch. And I was lucky that I was able to get a Switch, Xbox, and PS4, and now I have PS4. Like I was lucky enough to fall into opportunities that allowed me to get those for dirt cheap, right? But before it was a choice between, I had a Wii U, and it was like, okay, do I get a PS4 or do I get a Switch? And if you only have a Switch, then while the cloud options aren't ideal, it's a way for those people to play those games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think one other kind of easy call, I think they could go back and look at stuff like Fall Guys and just say like, Fall Guys just launched on Switch. Make sure you pick it up and play it today.
And if you get it on Nintendo, here is Nintendo costumes.
Right, because it might even be tomorrow, or at least it's by the end of the month. That's when the Halo costumes are dropping in Fall Guys. So a Nintendo partnership would make a ton of sense. That actually, it might be the 30th. I think that's dropping.
Yeah,
there's an event that's happening with that. So I mean, if they're going to do a Halo event, I'm sure they'll do a Sony event. I'm sure they'll do they're going to do an event for every platform. Like, and you can buy a Kratos I think you can buy a Kratos costume.
Oh, there's tons of Nintendo or Sony costumes already. Yeah,
Sony costume.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So I think those are the like fairly easy predictions. I don't know if this is when they're going to drop crazy shit, or if that's going to be like another couple of weeks. They do the indies, they do the partners, and then they do their own in sometime in July.
Yeah, they may tease something like, oh, stay tuned for our next direct and we'll show you something. I did think about this. Hollow Knight kind of got shown off at the Xbox showcase. Maybe this is where it gets a release date. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If it's close enough in. And then the other thing I was thinking about was Sports Story, the sequel to Golf Story, has been off everyone's radar, and maybe that gets announced as well. But I mean, I don't know. It's really, we could see some crazy stuff. 25 minutes is a long time, but we could have like one game. They'd be like, we're going to show you 10 minutes of Dragon Quest Treasure.
I hate when they do that.
Which Mark loves.
Now, let's show you 20 minutes of this. No, don't do that. No.
And it's always a super slow RPG that's probably fun when you play it, but it's like watching someone click through menus is just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Just show me a few snippets and move on.
Yeah. Exactly. A highlight reel, more information coming to our Twitter, and you can check it out then. Yeah. Well, very, very cool. I mean, this is going to be fun. It's over. By the time you listen to us, it will be over. You'll tell us if we're wrong or right, but hopefully some surprises.
I love when we do that kind of stuff, because it's so quick. It's like, here's your predictions, here's the show, here's when we drop the show, and everyone can laugh at us.
Exactly.
Or say that we're
so right. We were so right. Let's just embrace it. We were so good. But we're going to move on from the news to the bonus round, because we talked about licensed games in 2 segments, and I just want to talk about a little bit about the fact that we have largely been blessed with quality licensed games. This is not as it's always been. If you lived through the NES era, the Commodore 64 era, like I did, the Atari 2600 era with E.T., one of the most notorious licensed games, you ultimately knew if you were getting one of those games, largely it was going to be a cash grab. getting moms to buy a game for their kids or a dad or a grandma. And it was largely the game you had to play for like the next 6 months or until your next holiday. And that was it. But we always had highlights in licensed games where someone said, you know what, this might be a license, but I'm going to make the best game I can make it. So from there, I mean, we had various quality of games, different licenses coming in. We talked about the Turtles already, but, you know, we've had superheroes, different movie franchises, different cartoons and things like that. And then it seemed like we made a turn around the 360 era, PS3, where we got some really standout games. One that I loved that was on the Wii was Batman the Brave and the Bold. If you did not get a chance to play that game, it only came to Wii, and it was phenomenal. A great superhero beat 'em up with co-op play. I absolutely loved it. But there were very few good superhero games. Batman Arkham Asylum, we had those. We had the decent Spider-Man PS1 game. And then we had some good Spider-Man games. And then we finally got the Spider-Man games on PS4. So in regards to that, are any standout, like, would you say like licensed games or memories of licensed games, good or bad, that really stand out in your memories?
It's funny you mentioned that because a while back, I started a list of this exact question, and I called it movie tie-in games that don't suck.
We picked the right guest today.
Yes.
And I only got to 8 games. I know there are more, and I'm sure we'll find them together. But I'll tell you the 8 games in no particular order whatsoever. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Hell yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
GoldenEye, we've talked about.
Yep.
Ghostbusters, the video game.
Ooh, the remastered one?
Wait
or the Commodore 64. That was not very good.
I can't wait to play the new one on Oculus, man. Holy crap. Ghostbusters.
This one,
which an update. My Oculus has been found in my storage unit. I've got it. I can play Oculus again.
Yay.
Oh, we should all Oculus
hang out
up
in Worlds. Yeah,
let's do it.
We should all friend ourselves up on Oculus, play something online.
Honestly,
Poker,
for the longest,
yes,
I haven't played in so long. It's been collecting dust. I bought it and I played it hardcore for like a month or two, and then it's just sitting in a box now, unfortunately. But I know its time will come because it's a great party thing. But my friend and I, we got hooked on the casino stuff, and we played a week straight where we would just hang out in VR at the casino, just hanging out with other people. It was so weird because people would pull out all these items and stuff. Movie tie-ins, anyways. This one,
thank you.
Poorly reviewed. Don't worry, I know how it goes. Poorly reviewed, but Die Hard trilogy. Have you guys ever played the Die Hard trilogy on PS1?
Yes. Ryan Turford just reviewed that on his podcast. I played Die Hard, the arcade game, which was so weird and wacky. You could hit people with a shovel, had nothing to do with the Die Hard game. But the trilogy, it was a weird game on PS1.
Yeah, and they had, as far as I remember, they had different levels for different movies. Like when you played Die Hard with a Vengeance, you were doing taxi missions and things like that, right? I don't have strong memories, but strong enough. And I'm going to go even further back. 2 very strong licensed games, SNES, Genesis, Aladdin and The Lion King.
Yes. Good picks.
Hell yes.
Yeah. I know there's more, but that's all I got on my list right now.
DuckTales needs to be added on there.
Ooh. The remaster was pretty good too.
Remaster was good. NES, I love that game. Man, what a list. What a solid list. I will give a shout out. The hell. It's late. I will give a shout out to the Chronicles of Riddick game for the Xbox.
Escape from Butcher Bay.
And I think, again, we mentioned something. It was when the Xbox showcase, whether that was the last episode or the one before that, I mentioned something about Vin Diesel having a strong connection to Xbox, and he had some good stuff. I'm trying to blank. You know what? I loved some of the superhero games for like DS.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were okay, like side scroller, beat 'em up, kind of like Super Nintendo era kind of stuff. Like there was Ultimate Spider-Man, the Thor tie-in was like kind of solid. The Captain America.
Way Forward did a couple of those games, Mark.
Yeah. Really good stuff. And like the console launches or the console games would be like those rushed tie-ins that you kind of expect to be kind of like pooped out, but like Way Forward would kind of come in and nail the handheld version, and everyone ignored it. I still have like a few of those like upstairs, just kind of like in the collection, that like they're still solid, just simple but solid side scroller beat 'em ups. And
Game Boy Advance got a lot of those.
hell yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, Treasure, I think, did some of those. I mean, you get
Treasure
some
was-
good developers that are developing. Platinum does the same thing. They will develop licensed games, some good, some bad. Which
And
I will mention the Transformers game that Platinum did. Is it
for the
Robots in
360?
Size? Yes. They had the War for Cybertron games.
War for Cybertron, yes.
Right.
Those were fantastic. But then Platinum made essentially a G1 Transformers game with cell shading, looked beautiful, and it was a wonderful game. I absolutely loved it. That's why I was so excited for the Turtles game. But yeah, Transformers Transformers has done better in video games than the movies, thankfully.
I think you guys are both forgetting probably the most important one.
Yes, Devastation.
Here. And that's Cool Spot.
Cool
Spot, Mark. What about Avoid the Noid? Yeah,
I'm torn when it comes to license. When it comes to license, you Google license games and you're getting anything that's based off of a license. But I like to focus on the ones that are that come out with something like the movies. You know, when it comes out with something, because those ones are supposed to be bad because they're always
right. But it's a surprise.
But like the first
when
one,
they're good.
Yeah, exactly. X-Men Origins, that was like God of War level good. That game was insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know it's a shame that Raven Software
deconstruction, right? Like
you'd be a skeleton
and slowly grow back. That was such a great game.
Yeah, Raven Software made that game, and essentially and Raven Software essentially is now just a Call of Duty support studio, which is just so sad because they were such a talented studio. I will call out one that you might not have played, but Captain America on the 360 is phenomenal. It is a really good game. It's based on the movie, but the combat does feel like a Arkham Asylum game where it's like that rhythm combat. You throw your shield, you go in, boom, 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 boom. And Chris Evans does the voice acting. It is a really good game, just hard to find because it's available nowhere, but I have a 360 just for that purpose.
I think I mentioned it on the show before, but and I don't think it was a great game, but Blade. And I think it was Blade 2 or Blade Trinity.
I think you brought this up before, Mark.
Had one of the most unique and interesting fight systems I've ever seen in a game because all the controls and attacks were controlled with the right thumbstick. So like you could be surrounded by bad guys, and the bad guys, unlike most other games, didn't take turns attacking you. They'd all attack you at once from all different angles. And you literally would have to go like whoever you were facing, front punch, and then you do like an elbow to the back and like an elbow to the side and throw something to the other side. Like it was a really unique kind of combat system that I haven't really seen since. The game wasn't fantastic, but that always sticks out for me for like licensed games that at least did something kind of neat, that whether it's been integrated into other games or just kind of like dropped and forgotten, but like that one just always stands out for me.
Wow, I don't even know where you could play that these days. It's lost to time.
Yep. I'm trying to think of one, and I don't know which one, but one of the Lord of the Rings games, either Return of the King.
Oh, the move based on the movies?
Yes, and it was like a co-op.
Oh,
kind of like a beat 'em up in a way, more like a 3D exploring adventure type thing. That was really good. That was really good too.
Yeah, and those are largely hard to play because they were on the original Xbox, and I have on the 360. Only some of those games were actually backwards compatible on the 360. So I think the Two Towers is, but not the rest of the games. And those are great because you could swap between Legolas or Gimli or Aragorn, which was just fantastic. Yeah, which brings me to bring this in updated to Shadow of Mordor. I love that game. I love Shadow of War. I thought that was a great way to update, new storyline. The license survived, and obviously we're getting the Gollum game, which I've heard it looks like hot trash. I've heard bad things about that because if you want to play as anybody, Gollum, not so much. But I want to call it for my friend Charlie Carden, Star Trek Voyager, one of my least favorite Star Trek shows. They had a kick-ass game, Voyager Elite Force. It was a first-person Star Trek game, was great. It was awesome. I don't know how it got to be that good, but it's such a weird feeling. Like I feel betrayed, like betraying myself. Something I absolutely don't like, but a game I like to play. So I have that in my back window. With that, another one was Simpsons Hit and Run. The Simpsons has a bad
Yep.
history of licensed
Yeah.
games, but I would love that game to come back because it really nailed that Grand Theft Auto with the Simpsons sense of humor. Really, really good.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. When you said Simpsons Arcade, actually, I was thinking about that game and like, forget Simpsons Arcade. I want Hit and Run to come back.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It seems like it when because especially with Disney behind them, and they could get somebody to revamp a lot of those franchises and bring them out. I mean, um, and another game, a franchise I love is the Evil Dead.
Yep.
Their most recent game, Evil Dead the game, which is more like a. I tried it, wasn't for me because it wasn't really a solo game. It was really one of those like 4 players, like the Friday the 13th type game,
Mm-hmm.
but the care and love they gave to the characters, the franchise, the different actors, and that's what I love is when they capture that feeling of it, and it makes you feel like you're playing as the characters you love. Um, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, um, and we've had that a couple of other games like The Walking Dead, that game by Telltale. I mean, talk about taking a license, doing something, bringing back adventure games and
Mhm.
decisions, and it really, really, really played it out. So, with that, as we think about like I mean, there haven't been many stinkers lately when it comes to licenses. We've got a lot of, and especially as I think about like these like melee like games, like the Smash Bro clones. We've had the Nickelodeon one, which I know is a rough start, but apparently they've finally added in voice acting, which I found so very odd. You don't
Yeah.
have voice acting in your game with these characters, and then we have
Oh,
multiverses, which I played a beta of, and I think Mark,
Oh,
you played it as
I did.
well.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's really awesome to see them care for the characters, but making them in a way that's up to date and modern, and bring them to life and bringing in
Mhm.
new fans.
multiverses is going to make or break based on how they manage microtransactions.
I
Because
agree.
that's like if it's going
Oh,
to be
that's
like,
right.
all right, here's 3 characters and buy the rest. Like, no, they have to
Yeah.
find a way to make the game good and get that money. I actually wanted to go real quick back to you were mentioning some games and you talked about Evil Dead, the new one, but Evil Dead on the Dreamcast. Hello, have you guys
Which
played
one
Evil Dead
was
on
it?
No.
Which one was it? There's a couple. I own a couple of those old games.
Dreamcast? I'm looking it up
Boomstick.
right now. Hail to the King. It was on
Okay,
PlayStation as
a
well. I don't.
fistful of Boomstick. I think was the other game that came out.
That one I didn't play. I'm talking. I'm just talking about the Hail to the King. That one was a
Is that with the
ton of.
little dummy or no?
I can't remember. I just
Okay.
remember the game itself. And there was another one you were just mentioning, and it came to my head, and now I lost it. What was the other game you mentioned
Evil Dead.
after Evil Dead?
Hail. Oh, ooh,
It's
I'm
the
blanking.
ADHD
I've said a
kicking in.
lot.
That's okay. It'll come to me. But yeah, there was yeah, that one Hail to the King, that was a lot of fun too. God,
Yeah,
Kill Me
Fistful of
Joe.
Boomstick, Hail to the King. There was a couple others too. I looked those up because I'm a big fan. Mark, as I look to you, because I mean, quite honestly, we could talk about some of the games that you love, including Star Wars, a franchise you love. It's the
Yeah.
essence of licensing. George liked merchandising things, but I mean, there's been so many great games, more to come.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, is there any old game except for Yoda Chronicles that you really want to talk about where it
I was gonna
elevated
say
the
Yoda
franchise
stories.
license?
I mean the Super Nintendo games were tough, but good for the time. Super Star Wars was balls to the walls tough, but Return of the Jedi, Empire, like good games. The Rogue games, Rogue Squadron, that like even back to like X-wing Tie Fighter, X-wing versus Tie Fighter, like those kind of like Star Wars has had some great licensed games that either tied into the movie or were adjacent to like different properties and that kind of stuff. Star Wars has been, I like to think more hits than misses as far as licensed games and stuff.
Shadow of the Empire.
Shadow of the Empire, 100%. Yeah.
Jedi
That game needs
Shadow
an
of the
update.
Empire. It's funny though because like this games like that was a good time for us as gamers because games like Shadow of the Empire coming out now would probably be ripped apart as no good, like Jedi
Mm-hmm.
Academy, things like that. But back then it was just like looks cool. I'm gonna play it.
It's
Yep.
either this or no Star Wars. What would you like?
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron games were so
Mm-hmm.
good. I would
Yeah.
love to see those come back in any fashion, whether it's just a straight, just port the games and just drop them, or remaster, remake,
Just throw it
whatever.
on.
Like that.
People
So
think
good.
that we want remasters. I don't want a freaking remaster, man. Just give me an easy way to play the game. Like, if not, then
Yes.
I will find a ROM to do it. I will.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Because Shadows of the Empire is on PC right now. I mean, you
Oh, it
can
is?
get
Oh.
that game. You can buy it. Oh, yeah. There's a ton of Star Wars games you can just buy on PC because they're still out there. They were ported to it, which is great. And it just seems like port them to Switch. It would be very easy to do, as they've done. And they've enhanced some of those, which is great because we're getting KOTOR 2 and which is great. But some are kind of missing. I did want to call out the reason I actually bought my original Xbox was because I was a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that was an Xbox exclusive.
I remember
Buffy the
that.
Vampire Slayer, a really great game. They made a sequel that was not as good, but still they got the voice talent, captured the series, and especially franchises that are dead. Having a game and keeping that hope alive that you're actually going to get to play a game and keeping it alive is fantastic. We get a lot of comic books that are adapted that way, but a video game of being able to play as the characters you read about is really fun.
I remember the
Yeah.
game. I remember the game that I was trying to remember. You mentioned Walking Dead Telltale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like again, the word license is. I like to think of license when it's directly connected to something, and this is not. But the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners on Oculus
Oh,
is
I have to play that.
yeah, it is probably one of the most legit zombie experiences. And I'm tired of the zombie game, but this is like the most legit zombie experience you will have in a game. I'm talking about
Cool.
it's true survival. The zombies are slow. When you stab them, you have to really do this to really feel it, and then you got to yank it out. You have stuff in your backpack, and you got to lean over to grab it.
Ooh,
You
nice.
that is if you like Walking Dead, you like zombie games, that is as zombie as it get. You will never right now, I have never played a game that is more zombie apocalypse than this.
That's on sale right now too. I don't know how long the sale lasts, so by the time people are listening to it, don't know if it'll still be on sale.
It'll
But
be on sale again,
it
I'm
was
sure.
this week. Yeah,
Oh
it'll
yeah,
come back around.
you get your Xbox or you get your Oculus coupons or whatever, Mark. Right? I always
Yep.
tell you, hey, this is on sale, Mark. Check it out. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Well, I'm going to talk about what's coming up, and you can tell me your interest level of these licensed games. So what we've got coming up is very interesting. Marvel's Midnight Suns is coming out in October. This is by the folks that made XCOM with cards. Mark and I are kind of like iffy on either of those experiences, but it looks cool. But I may have to watch a video walkthrough maybe, and that should be
I'm so
sufficient.
excited for
Yeah,
this game, but
I
I'm
need to
not.
see a gameplay on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't shown actually. I mean, they gave some examples of it, but I don't know if I would actually enjoy the experience. To be honest, then we got Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. I remember trying the original Avatar game, didn't really care for it. It was an Ubisoft game. I'm not sure what they haven't shown anything of this game since they showed like the trailer, and this movie's coming out like in 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
is this coming out and released with the movie? Is it after? That doesn't seem like it bodes well for a big game, right? Unless they're worried about spoilers. I don't
This is gonna
know.
be our first movie tie-in in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It'd
really.
be cool, like
Right?
exploring that world. Like I don't know if you guys have seen like Avatar Land in Disney World or whatever, like
No.
in Animal Kingdom, but like the world is really neat, especially at
Oh
night.
yeah.
Everything's glowing and all that kind of stuff. Like if they do a game where you can just kind of even just enjoy Pandora or enjoy that world underwater or above whatever, like I think it could be really cool just as an experience to see what that planet's like. Like I hope the gameplay gets out of the way of experiencing what Pandora's like, is
Mm,
if that kind of makes sense to you guys, because
yeah.
um we're talking about Midnight Suns, and that's one that I want to see what the story's like, but like the gameplay is just kind of like getting in the way of like card plus turn based, just like Stop turning me off. Just let me play, like, just make this Captain America and the Avengers where I can play as the Midnight Suns and beat the hell out of some demons and just like whatever, right? Like, just give me a cool story. So, yeah, I hope they don't get too up in their head about Avatar and that world. I just kind of want to live in Pandora for a bit.
Yeah, make it a side story or something that's not tied to the plot, and just have a good time. And then you don't have to worry about whether the movie was failed or succeeded. You just created a cool game that happened to be in that world. Because there's got to be more than one story to tell in Pandora, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah, so we go from there. We've got Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. This is Rocksteady's new game coming in 2023. We also have Gotham Knights coming in 2022. So I'm excited for Gotham Knights. That'll be my fall game probably. And it's different because it's going to be a co-op, and you get to play as different characters. Batman will show up, folks. Don't believe he's dead.
He's
Then we've
dead.
got...
He's not coming.
You think he's dead?
Yeah, man.
Aw, poor
People are
Bat.
tired of. They have to make it different. I think they'll. I think that'll keep the story. I don't see them. I think they can stick with him being dead.
Okay.
I think that'll
Okay.
be like a end credit stinger of like maybe Bruce is just captured in stasis by the Court of Owls or something like that.
Exactly. He's gone off and made a hemp farm. We don't know. Then we've got the Indiana Jones game, which we've seen nothing about. We've seen one picture of Harrison Ford, and then we've got this teaser. It's one of my favorite studios who made the Wolfenstein games. I don't know if it's tied to a movie. I don't know if it's just a standalone adventure. We don't know if
I think
Harrison Ford is
standalone.
actually in this game. You do? Okay.
I think it's gonna
Mark?
be standalone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think again I said it an episode or two ago that I'd like to see them kind of go. This is its own. This is like the Guardians of the Galaxy game was to like those movies. Like, yeah, characters are kind of the same or similar, but like this is our own spin on it. It's not Harrison Ford. This is our Indiana Jones, and it's similar but different.
Then we've got Hogwarts Legacy, which I am excited about this. I know the franchise is kind of a rough mess because of its creator, but the fact is a lot of people still are passionate about this and they love it besides the creator. And the fact that you can be a student within Hogwarts and it's not tied to Harry Potter and the boy, and just you're having your own adventure and you're becoming a student. I think that's what everybody's always wanted to be. And this could be great. I saw the trailer, the PlayStation thing for it, and I thought, man, I'm in.
Hufflepuff, hell yeah. The combat looks really good, like way better than what they did in the movies. Like the movies, basically, it was just like either disarm or kill shot. Like that was they really it was boring. So this looks entertaining.
Then we've got the Project 007 game by the Hitman developer. That could be very cool. We haven't had a game like that in some time with 007, and it's probably not going to be tied to actually a movie, which could be very cool and a good way to advance that series. And that is it, as far as I know. But lastly, as we talked about the games that are coming, is there any franchise or license you want to see that you feel is being not presented to you as a franchise lover?
That's a tough one. I want to say this one kind of sucks, but I want to say Power Rangers because we haven't gotten a good Power Rangers game in so long. I mean, we have a good fighting game, but I can't like. There was a concept a while ago for a new Power Rangers game. Never happened, but it was just open world, and the concept designs were out, and like there could be something a little bit more robust, more like Arkham, and all that kind of stuff. As much as Turtles is fun in 2D, would like to see there be a proper 3D one as well. Other than that, franchise wise, I'd like to see some more obscure anime get a second chance because there's been some games that have gotten chances way back and they were either only in Japan or they just never made it out. Love a Cowboy Bebop game and love an Akira game.
Very cool. Very cool. Mark?
I want some more varied Star Wars stuff. My little dude's up and crying right now, so I got to be quick because he's my wife has him upstairs, but he's loud. But varied Star Wars, like we've got Fallen Order, but like give me something with bounty hunters and just explore more of that galaxy.
Less Jedi, more outside of everything else.
Everything else, yeah. What about you, Todd?
Definitely. Very quickly, Farscape. It's one of my favorite sci-fi series of all time. Mark will be back. He's checking on his little one. I just think that it literally was under the radar at a time where there wasn't a lot of people watching sci-fi. So I just think it was a series that I think a lot of people missed. And I think it really was a great sci-fi series. So I think there's a lot you could do. I think there was one game on it, and it wasn't very good. Another would be going back to Buffy. I know that franchise is in a rough spate because of the creator, but I think you could really do something fun with it in this modern time. And then Game of Thrones. I don't think Game of Thrones has had a good game, and I love that franchise's world.
They had the one Xbox One, which my friend and I had high hopes for, which was basically kind of like a cheap Dragon Age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever played it. I never played it, but it looked like it had promise. And then we have obviously a bunch of other games, but they follow the story exactly. So it's like it's no fun.
Yeah, there was a Telltale that was okay, and there was a game
Yeah, that's
called
right.
Reigns. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Reigns series,
Yeah,
where it's
I've
like
heard of.
a series of choices, and it's very
Mhm.
much like you make decisions, and it's really not very interactive. It's just very
No.
much. But I think they could do something very cool with the mythology or magic or follow a path that could be very, very cool in the Dragon Age
Mhm.
mode, like you talked about with or Witcher, where you're taking decisions, gray. There's no black and white. There's gray, and I think there's a lot that could be done. But
Yeah.
who knows? WBD Games. I don't think anybody has got. I mean, that's who owns it, and they could do some cool stuff with it.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, yeah. So this has been a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
John, it's been a pleasure, and
Thanks
we
for having
talked
me.
about comics before you came on the show. So I think that
Mhm.
might be a special thing when we, hopefully can bring you back on for Secret Friends Unite, talk about the world of nerd and other areas outside of video games. That would be fantastic. But before we go, tell us where people can find your stuff and just anything else about you in the world of the interwebs.
Yeah, everyone get a pen and paper. So yeah, follow me on Twitter at John Bernardo. I am random. I tweet a lot of random shit. But the most important thing that I do is a little show called Comics on the Spot. This is a mirrored version, but this is Comics on the Spot. And we are a podcast that creates improvised comics. I am with two amazing indie comic writers slash artists, one Sam Owen and one Darren Vogt. And yeah, basically what we do every episode is we randomly generate a sentence, and we take that sentence and we make a short story out of it. And then at once we kind of get like the general idea down, um, whoever we have, either we have a guest or just those guys do it, and they'll write and create between a 1 to 3 page comic, and we put it on our website comicsonthepod.com for everyone to read for completely free. We wrapped up our first season with some fun stuff. For any turtle fans out there, you'd be happy to know that we actually had a bonus episode with Kevin Eastman where we designed characters with him. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
So we kind of went off of the whole, uh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how you have, four adjectives or whatever nouns, verbs, and all that stuff. You have that all together. But with him, we tried to come up with something else. So we came up with angry half pipe zombie wizards. I'll drop it in there in the chat for you to go see what it looks like. But yeah, so we came up we kind of pitched him these ideas, and he liked a little bit of every idea, so we ended up pitching him, but we ended up coming up with that, and then Darren Vogt designed it, and then that was it. But yeah, it's so much fun. I've done a lot of podcasts, started a lot of shows in my life, and this has been the most rewarding and most fun, and I'm very honored to be with those guys. So yes, please, if you want to check anything out for me, please go check out Comics on the Spot, and that's on all podcast services. Go to comicsonthepod.com because some jerk took the spot. And same thing with our social networks is at Comics on the Pod. And yeah, season 2 will be coming soon, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Oh, that's phenomenal. We do a segment on our show on Secret Friends Unite where it's called Tata Show, which is where I was famous for being given a premise and I
Mm-hmm.
just draw it out. So I think, John, you'd have a blast with it where we basically assign certain things and you have to come up with a premise and a storyline. I think you'd have a great time with that. So we will definitely be in touch. But yeah, folks, What John and I were talking about comics earlier before you came on the show. John is big into indie comics, so if you want some recommendations as well, he definitely can fill you in of all the cool stuff that he's reading in the world of nerd, because it's not all capes and cowls. It can also be really cool manga. It can be independent books, future, science fiction, past, whatever, and present. So check out John's stuff. It's been a blast, John, for you being on. And Mark is dealing with his little guy. He's had a rough night. So with Mark, follow at the Canardian on Twitter if you want to game with him. He's all around the interwebs at the Canardian on Xbox and Switch. And here's Mark as well before I leave. So Mark, I was about to give all your credits away, but go ahead and do it yourself.
I'm going to sign you off.
You can find me everywhere at _Canardian. You can find me on Xbox and Switch as just Canardian. So find us in the Discord. Let's play some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's play some Fall Guys. Sorry, I had to take off there, guys. But, dad shit happens.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? For all your baby tips, follow Mark as well. And also John, because they've got young children. I don't. I have a 16-year-old, so he rarely needs me. And I just have to make sure he's in the house and going to sleep. So if you want to follow me, I'm at Toxtra on Twitter. And if you want to game with me, you can follow me at Spartyon98 on Xbox and Switch, and Spartyon1998 on PSN. And by all means, folks, follow our YouTube page. So this podcast goes up there. You get to see our shining faces, our backgrounds, all the cool stuff we show off on this show. And we'd love you to subscribe so we can get our custom URL and share the world all of the cool things we talk about on another medium. So that is it. So thank you for the journey you had tonight. It was long, but highly exciting. John made fun of us because he's like, doesn't anybody do a short podcast? I'm like, it's just us having a good time. That's why it takes so long.
Yeah.
So with that, I say thank you, John. Thank you, Mark. Remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.